It's startup season. I need my check, man, he always gon' remind. I had to bust out some raps for the one time. Think I'm flexing, I only do sometimes. I need to be gas on my wrist like it's lunchtime. I had to bust out some.
Today we're going to be changing the coolant in a 4090 custom loop. You're going to need a few things to change it. First, you're going to need distilled water. That is to clean the loop after the fluid's been drained. You're going to need your new coolant. I'm going to be using RTX Clear. Then you will also need a tube to fill your reservoir up as it fills from the top. You don't want to be pouring. Okay, we're going to start off by opening up our reservoir here. Make sure you have a little bin for it to drain into. We're going to let gravity do what it can first, and then we're going to power it on and let the pump do the rest. You can see we're draining some out of it right now as the reservoir has been opened. It does have a cap on it. So we'll let this drip as much as it can, and then we'll power it on and let it drain. Okay, so now we're going to be tilting it around to try to get some of the fluid to move into the reservoir outside of the loop here. This part takes a little while. Okay, I've tilted it around a little bit. You can now see the remaining fluids in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab our bucket again and we're going to unlock our reservoir. This does take like a quarter or a coin if you have one laying around. We're going to go ahead and unlock this. Make sure your bucket's underneath. It's not going to come out fast, but you don't want it spilling everywhere. And now we're going to get that same drip we got last time. Perfect. Okay, so now that your loop has been fully drained, we're now going to unlock the top portion of the reservoir, confirming that this bottom one is tight, because now we're going to begin filling it with distilled water. Make sure it's distilled just in case you spill any. Now we're going to unlock the top. And inside of this I have distilled water. As said before, you want something like this so you're not pouring a jug or a cup into the top of it. And as I put this in, it's just going to be a slow, steady stream. And we're going to fill this all the way up. All right, I'll see you guys when it's full. Okay, now that it's full, we are going to hit the power button and let this go through the loop. Now I like to add through as it's pumping. Okay, so now that the distilled water in there, which is not great for cooling, but luckily there's no monitors, there's nothing plugged into this thing, we're going to let it sit for about 2 to 5 minutes to let it fully clear the loop out. Once it all settles, we're going to drain it and actually put our coolant back in. Okay guys, I've let mine sit for about 3 minutes. We're now going to unplug the bottom of our reservoir to drain this out, so therefore we can add our coolant in. So once again, you will need your bucket. I actually need to empty mine real quick. Okay, we are now going to unlock the bottom. Keep in mind our top is still open for the air to come through to allow it to move. Get the fast drip. Remember, this time it's distilled water, so it's going to move a lot quicker. The consistency is a lot lighter. Okay, and then once again, we're going to rotate this around to get all of this out. Okay, now that we've gotten all the fluid right here, we're going to once again, for the final time, we're going to unlock our reservoir. Remember, this is still distilled water, so it's going to come out very quickly. I ended up adding this little towel just for a bit of protection for that. Even though there's no components below it, I don't want the computer to sit in water. We're just going to let this last little bit drain out of here. Okay, that is all drained out. We are going to lock this. Top one is still open. Now we're going to be adding RTX XL8 Clear. I use Clear because Clear only has to be changed every probably 8 months to a year. While if you go a color, you may want to change it every 6 months because the color breaks apart in the loop. So if you don't like doing maintenance every few months, I recommend Clear. Of any brand, I used to use EK as well. They were just sold out at the store today. So I decided to go with RTX. Both of them work just about the same. So now we're going to begin to fill this one up. I've already added some of our coolant into here. And we're going to begin this tedious process again, and I'll see you once it's full. Okay, we now have our coolant in here, so we're going to press the power button and fill as it goes. Sorry, my cap's not all the way on there. We're going to keep filling. And now you should see a bunch of bubbles in here. Those can actually take about a day or so to go away fully. Same for if you see any air pockets, that can also take about a day. They'll all end up working themselves into the reservoir, which then after about a week, I normally top up and then I'll leave it for one more year, maybe about 8 months, and do this process again. If you're using a colored fluid, I recommend draining with distilled water 2 or 3 times or until the color is completely gone. Even if you're using the same color, because of the particles of the color breaking apart will get stuck in your blocks, it'll corrode away your fittings. So you'll want to make sure the color's completely gone. So if you're looking for lower maintenance, Clear is definitely the way to go. A loop like this, which is a reservoir hard tube around Strix 4090 with water block and a 360 rad here in the back, uses about 400, maybe 350 milliliters of coolant. So if you buy a 1 liter, you may be able to get two fills out of it. Obviously, it adds more to your CPU, but not much more. Probably about another 150. Okay, guys, we've now finished our coolant change in our hard tube custom loop. It's a little bit more challenging than soft tube. As soft tube, you can simply unscrew one of these and dump the tube into a bucket. While for hard tube, there's no give and it's not worth the time to unscrew them, especially this coolant change. We're not changing any fittings or tubing. All of them seem to be in good condition. I was checking the seals, they seem to be good. Hard tube seems to be less maintenance with that. As my soft tube, every about 8 months, you'd have to replace probably half the tube and some of the fittings, as just the soft tube corrodes away due to the coolant running through it. for the heating and cooling cycles. But make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.